And it's not really that you're searching for him, it's that you were so distracted you lost the path. You tried to find him on a path that you thought you were on. Problem is, a lot of paths look the same. Let's go back to the original statement. You're on this journey. I put you at a crossroads, blindfold you, spin you around, and tell you to go in the right direction. Now you have to navigate on your own to get to the place that you should have been. Now you have to navigate on your own or find the place on your own where you should have been. And the problem is when you get there, you're all like, where were you? I was looking for you. And Jesus is like, I was here. Well, you were the one who left. I was the one who was waiting. You come in and you ever tell somebody, I'm going to meet you here. I was coming home for Christmas, and I was living in Detroit at the time, and long story short for this part, I got into a car accident, flipped my car down a mountain, had to cut me out, wound up in jail in Ohio, because I abandoned the car. I jumped in an ambulance that was unmarked through a guy that was going to drop me off at the George Washington Bridge. Awesome story, I'll tell you another time. All right? So anyway, I get on a Greyhound bus out of Akron, Ohio. I get into Port Authority, and I'm standing on Port Authority, and we arranged with my dad, he's going to pick me up on the corner of 43rd and 7th. I am on the corner of 43rd and 7th. He is on the corner of 43rd and 7th. I am on the phone with my mom on a payphone. He's on his cell phone with my mom. And we're both yelling at her, telling her that he is not there. And all of a sudden I get so mad, I'm like, he's a liar, he's not there. All of a sudden he turns around, he was right behind me, he goes, I am not a liar, put that phone down. We were in the same place, we were facing opposite directions. And because of our panic, we couldn't see each other. And what happens is many times we are in the place where Jesus is, but because of our panic, we're not seeing him because we're looking in an opposite direction. We're expecting Jesus to show up on the world side when Jesus is facing heaven's view. And I'm facing worldly situations, and I'm yelling at Jesus, you're not showing up. Where are you? You're a liar. And Jesus is saying, I'm here, but you're facing the wrong direction. We're supposed to be going towards heaven, not more like the world. And you're facing more like the world, and I'm facing more like heaven. And now we're angry at Jesus because Jesus is a liar, because he's not showing up on the world end, because he's waiting for us to turn around and face heaven. You follow me? And Jesus is turning around waiting for us to face heaven. In this walk of faith, in this journey, Jesus is looking at us and he's asking us to face heaven. The walk by faith is descriptive of the Christian life means this. Walk by faith. Walk by sight does not mean in the power of our vision. Walk by sight means under the influence of persuasion of things seen and temporal. It is the one essential characteristic of the worldly man that his judgment and decisions are made upon his affections, are ruled by his conduct, and are ordered by what he may get. So I'm ruled by my affections, I'm ruled by my conduct, and I go after the things that I can get. Because that's what walking by sight means. Sight does not mean, remember, the power of our vision. Sight means under the influence and the persuasion of things seen and things temporal. I'm under the persuasion of the things that I see, so I go after it. I'm under the persuasion of things that are temporary, so I worry about it. So I'm so focused on the things that are temporary, and I'm so focused on the things that I can see, that I'm walking by sight, not by vision. Because vision pursues me to a destination where sight persuades me to an item. The things I see will gravitate me towards my wife. I see my wife, I move towards her. It's a thing. But vision produces something that I can't see, but it's a destination that I want to arrive to. And spiritual vision provides me with a destination that I can't see, but a place in my life that I want to arrive to, but amid the distractions of everything around me that I can see and is persuading for my affections, arguing me to rule me by objects, and me being cultivated by relationships. So these are all the things that I'm after. These are all the things that is. And we have to understand the measure, listen, write this down. The measure of our potential is God working with us, through us, and for us. Say this with me. Say the measure of our potential is God working with us, through us, and for us. The measure of your potential is God working with you, through you, and for you. So how great is your potential? It's vast. How big is your God? Limitless. So my potential is not limited by God, it's limited by sight. Because if I walk by faith, my faith is in who? God. So my potential's God potential. But if I walk by sight, then it's limited by only things I can see and thereby boxed in. And when we talk about living in a box, it's because you've judged yourself by what you can see. And because of it, you can only pursue what the mind can comprehend, as opposed to living according to what God is. Remember? What did I say in the beginning? For he who believes must believe that God, say it louder, God, thank you. And if God is, then I don't have to worry about what I see. I have to pursue who he is. Without faith, it is impossible. You say please, I say walk with God. And I don't want to change the scripture. But without faith, it's impossible to walk with God. Why? Because we walk by and not by sight. So if I'm walking with God, I'm walking by faith. Without faith, it is impossible to walk with God. Have God lead you and let the Lord direct you. You cannot let the Lord direct you if you don't have faith in Him. You cannot let the Lord lead you if you don't put your faith in Him. And you cannot walk with Him if you don't put your faith in Him. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says this. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own understanding. Think about Him in all your ways, and He will guide you on the right paths. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 5 says that Enoch walked with God. The steps of the righteous, we've heard this, are ordered by the Lord. Abraham walked before the Lord, and the Lord called him and said, Be ye holy, as I am holy. I close. Detroit's Cabo Arena. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus is holding their annual show. And the highlight of their show every year was a group called the Flying Wallendas. And the Flying Wallendas were a daring high wire act. And their closing act was the human pyramid, where on the balance they would walk. And on a stack, 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. Balancing on the high wire, they would walk across the high wire. No net underneath to catch them. Many people not knowing how they did it, but every show, they always did it. And as they were walking, the youngest one, supporting in the middle, on the bottom, Dede Walenda, was walking, cries out in German, I can't take it anymore. I can't walk anymore. And they all collapsed and fell. Several were injured. One died. Have you ever felt like that in your life? Like Dede Walenda? That the pressure is too great, that you cannot hold on any longer. The pressures of home, work, world, school, parents, family, friends weigh down on you until you feel like, yo, I can't do it anymore. I can't walk any farther. You feel like collapsing. pressure has begun so great. Have you ever felt the pressures all around you squeezing in? You're trying to walk this path, but you're distracted by all sides. You hear other people yelling and screaming for your attention, and you're trying to walk with the Lord, but every stop, there's a distraction. Every stop along this destination, there is something, whether it's cars or family, whether it's friendships or work, whether it's school or pleasure. But on all sides of this road, there are all these distractions that are yelling for your attention. I'm here to tell you today that the walk of faith is just that. It's a walk of faith, pursuing to something we cannot see. We pursue something we cannot see. We are in a course for our destiny, yet it's our destiny that we forfeit when we stop walking along this path. What is the path of vision? What is the path for your life? The path of vision is the same thing. The path for your life is the same thing that God spoke to Abraham. He said, be holy and walk perfect before me. You say, well, God, how can I walk perfect before you? That word perfect does not mean blameless. It does not mean faultless. It does not mean perfection. Because no man is perfect. What it means is to walk in the pathway of God. To follow the pathway of God. Basha said, walk not in the paths of old men. Seek what they saw. Hebrews chapter 11 speaks of all these things that these men of faith saw, but never attained. But they knew that it was for a promise of something better to come. And I'm here to tell you that you might in your life feel like you've come up short. You might feel that in your point of life that you've reached a point of frustration in your walk. But I'm here to tell you that God is pursuing you for something so much better. That when you walk with God, it might not be what you thought it would be, but it's so much better than what you ever hoped or imagined. That the call and the purpose that God has for you is greater than anything that you could have ever wanted for yourself. God has purpose and God has destiny. How do I walk this out in faith? The answer is simply this: faith. What is faith? What is faith? Well, I come to this point. It's the substance of what? But the evidence of what? You turned it around. You got it right. The evidence of things not seen. It's the evidence of things not seen. I'm pursuing God, then I'm pursuing something I can't see, but I know is real. And people might not understand, but my pathway will show them where I'm headed. Don't you realize that every step you take tells everyone where you're going? Everyone knows your direction by the paths you're choosing. Who would choose the pathway of God this day? Who would say, I would choose the pathway of God? Would you just bow your heads? I just want this point to be a point of reflection as we close this service. God has a path and a way for you to go. There is a way that seems right to a man, but in its end is destruction. But remember Psalms 1:6. It says, for the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to ruin. You can choose two directions. You can choose the way of the righteous or the way of the wicked. One leads to everlasting life. Another leads to destruction. It's no mystery the path that you're on, because the path that you're on would produce the destination that you're going to. Everyone knows the path that you're on by what's being produced in your life. If you're chasing after the riches of this world, then be assured you're chasing the path of this world. But if you're looking to produce God, then you are on the pathway of God. And I close. Jesus says, don't worry about what you would eat or drink or wear. For the Gentiles in the world chases after these things. But do this, seek ye first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will will be added unto you.